This video I am going to test out a few things, and I'm going to play this game, Sonic 3D for the Sega Mega Drive. I do have a few opinions about this game, and they are mainly that it's not anywhere near as bad as a lot of people say. But I remember at the time I was absolutely blown away by the presentation in this game, and perhaps not quite so much by the gameplay. It's one of these later Mega Drive releases. It's got the sort of blue bubbles, and it's easier to take the cartridges out as well. It doesn't have clips to hold the cartridge in. Now, as for capturing my footage, for years and years I used to use one of these to capture all of my footage, but that did limit me to standard definition things, old consoles and computers and things like that. When I bought my new computer, I bought one of these, which so far I find this has been absolutely fantastic. It's just a small little thing like this. It works really well, but of course it only has a HDMI port on it, and I want to do a Mega Drive game. So what I've also bought is this very cheap upscaler, and the idea is that I'll plug my Mega Drive into here and then output that into here and then output that into my PC. There's going to be a lot of cables, it's going to be a bit messy, and this is going to upscale it to 1080p or 720p, so it's going to be widescreen. So what I really want to do is find a way of shrinking that down to the non-widescreen screen that the Mega Drive uses, the non-widescreen aspect ratio that the Mega Drive uses. And another thing I'm going to test is a cheap new third-party Mega Drive controller. A lot of my controllers are very old now and they don't all work particularly well. And I just spotted this controller in a retro game shop the last time I visited. The first time I've been out shopping in a real shop for these sorts of things for absolutely ages. It feels incredibly cheap, I have to say. But I'm going to use this for this video, so I'll be commenting on that as well as the game, and that's that. Who made this game again? Sega! I mean, the presentation in this game, I'd give that a 10 out of 10, really. This game was a swan song for the Sega Mega Drive, so they obviously wanted to show off a little bit, and they really threw a lot of pre-rendered 3D graphics into it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use the cheat so I can select a few of the levels, show a bit of the game off. They do take a surprisingly long amount of time to get through. here we are in Green Grove Act 2, and this pre-rendered pixel art, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So you control Sonic. It is from an isometric perspective. It's not the first game to be isometric. I did have a lot of isometric games before this on my Amstrad CPC, but they were always in a certain style, and they never scrolled. They were usually really slow. Look at those walls. There's lots and lots of graphics here. The simple tiled floor, the checkerboard floor, does free up a bit of memory, so the rest of the graphics can be more detailed. And Sonic himself has got loads of frames of animation. So if you didn't know, once you've collected 5 of the birds, 5 of the Flickies, then you can go on to the next section. And there's usually about 3 of them per act, and these are pretty long acts. Oh yeah, Knuckles is over here. But I don't need him yet. This game has obviously come from that time in the early 90s where 3D graphics was starting to really come through for the first time. And what you'd see in certain games is either they would take pictures of real actors and put them in games as digital images, or I think starting with Donkey Kong Country, they would just make a 3D model and then take a picture of it and use that for the animation. And you've got this special stage here which uses some trickery, but these special stages are really easy, and I don't think you really get anything for collecting all the emeralds in this game other than a better ending. I've already got more than enough rings. There was going to be unique music for these Knuckles special stages, and you can find the demo tape, in fact, on the Game Hut website, and the music would have been the same as Twinkle Park in Sonic Adventure. Right, thanks Knuckles. Oh, bugger. Oh, see, he took all my rings. Yeah, Knuckles takes all your rings in exchange for letting you get into the special stage somehow. Don't think about it. You can sort of see the enemies use colours that have a lot of purples in them. This all looks absolutely fantastic though, because it was more difficult than some other computers, some other systems, to make pre-rendered images and digitized images look good. On the Mega Drive, it would have taken a lot of manual tidying up, but this game looks absolutely brilliant. You know, you'd expect to see a lot of dithering, but it's very, very tidy. You can sort of see a little bit of dithering on the walls there. I think this game looks really, really good, and in fact it sounds really good too. And I have talked over the music this entire time. There's Tails, just hanging about over here. Don't want to go in his special stage. I've got 3 out of 5 Flickies right now. Thankfully, this game is easy enough that you don't really ever get lost. And you won't spend ages and ages looking for the last enemy. Because they could have gone down the route of making these really long and mazy. But what they did instead is they just made it really, really easy. And that is a little bit to the game's detriment, I think, because even at the time when this was new, I could play through the game quite easily. One of my friends had this game and I could play through the game really easy, but the first time I got to the last level and the second time I played it, I got a little bit bored. So yes, a little secret area there. But the next act is the boss act, so I may as well show you the boss. So I'm being smart here and I'm not collecting too many rings. And there's a nice touch there. You could see his window dome getting more smashed as time went on. Alright, so now this is Rusty Ruin Zone. This zone has my favourite music in the game. If you wonder what the heck I was doing there, that was actually the controller. If you remember, I'm using that really cheap third-party controller. It's quite difficult to press the direction that you intend to if you just roll your thumb along the directional pad. So the main gimmick in this zone really is these little spinny locations that make you start rotating. I didn't explain that very well, did I? The areas that make you start rotating. So some well animated enemies, but the enemies pose no threat to you whatsoever. I mean, they could be a millimetre away from you and they just sort of move back and forth. So you can see there I let myself get hit, but actually I didn't get hit. The enemies, not the enemies, the Flickies got hit. Now they get hit completely separately from Sonic. Oh wow, that was cool. Look at that guy. What can happen if the Flickies get hit as you're running past something is they can actually get lost. So you've rescued them, but they get detached from Sonic, and they have their own little personalities. The different types have their own personalities. Some of them will come and find Sonic. Some of them will actively stay away from him. And I think some of them jump. So there's a lot of effort that went into little details in this game, but I don't think it makes for a fantastically well designed game, if you see what I mean. You've got this gimmick here where you can start rotating and then you can smash them pillars and that bumper there. You've got these things here which pose no threat to you whatsoever. And they're all things that they've all been programmed into the game to give the game a little something extra, but they don't really, because they either don't do anything or they don't pose a threat. And it's Diamond Dust Zone. Yeah, so one of the gimmicks in this level is this snow that pushes you back. Great fun. So you can sort of see that these different levels don't really change in any meaningful way. They've got a different graphics set and they do have slight little gimmicks that are different from level to level, but you are essentially just collecting the Flickies, putting them into the big gold ring, and that's it. And I think that it's one of those things that's a bit of a design flaw that you probably can't really fix. This turned out as good as it possibly could have done given the design. It's a little bit like Knuckles Chaotix. Now the main gimmick of that game is that two characters are stuck together with a rubber band. That is what makes the game not particularly great to play. And so they could do whatever they want with the rest of the game, but that one thing ruins the game, basically. And so they couldn't possibly have made that any better than they did. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to make good games. I like this better than Knuckles Chaotix though. So this was made by Traveller's Tales and Sega collaborating. And Traveller's Tales were asked to make this on the strength of their Toy Story game. And their Toy Story game used lots and lots and lots of trickery like this. Loads of pre-rendered graphics. And in fact that was a very late Mega Drive game. And I've read that after making Toy Story, Traveller's Tales were really keen to move on to the next generation of consoles. And then Sega asked them to make this for the Mega Drive. But, you know, Sega were huge back then, so they didn't want to turn them down. That was still a big opportunity for Traveller's Tales. So they took on the job. And I think they did a really good job with it. That's where I'll end it. If you've got this far, not many people do watch to the very end of my videos. But if you did get to the end of it, then thank you. I may even do another video sometime in the future. So, goodbye.